Hey, good morning and welcome to another edition of the Patriot Radio News Hour. It's a beautiful day to be alive, and thanks for tuning in. This show is brought to you by the Patriot Trading Group. Offer legal, lawful, constitutional tender, things that are real, things that you can touch, things that, well, have been around a long time. Call 1-800-951-0592 if you are lonely and no one will talk to you like me. Then, you can pick up the phone and call Arlene and have a nice long chat and put away some hard assets. If you're stuck in a corner to a water pipe or snowed in and can't move and your phone's broken but your internet's still working, go to allamericangold.com. You can order and just click. No one will talk to you. No one will say anything. And then about, a week or so, a mailman will show up with a box with a strange look on his face and hand it to you and make you sign for it. And don't forget, if it's silver, always tell them that, my tractor parts have finally arrived. 1-800-951-0592 will get you done. I'm Eric Cedarstrom, just sitting in doing a little radio because, well, let's face it, I had nothing else to do. And the owner, Joe Jaquint, who runs this wonderful company in its third decade. I can't believe that. Third decade. No wonder I'm tired. My knees pop. Everything cracks when I get out of bed. I'm just worried. My biggest worry is one of my high school yearbook photos may show up online. And, for anybody now, that's a fear. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. There's got to be a statute of limitations.
Yeah, I know.
How far back can you go? I mean, listen, doesn't make it right, wrong, or but it was a different time back then.
It's crazy. The blackface thing and all that. I mean, it's just nuts. I guess we're responsible. Now, get this. The Arizona Republic. You know the picture at Times Square, World War II, where the guy has the nurse bent over giving her a kiss?
Yeah, very famous.
Right. The war's over. Everybody celebrates.
Celebrating good times.
There's a gal in the Arizona Republic now she's going to do an expose article on that picture about how that was an unwanted sexual advance. Can you believe that? This is an iconic photo that has made it through generations, now being questioned as, So apparently, if Russia nukes us, and when you come out of your bunker, 40 years later, and you see a blonde in a nurse's uniform, run up to her and shake her hand. We're still alive. Yay. Crazy.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's, it's just the world that we live in. Everything that we've been taught, everything that we accepted as America is now under attack. And I mean everything. On the lighter side, I don't know if you saw this. Let me see, I got the front page here, the Arizona Republic. The threat of radiation at the Grand Canyon.
Oh, I saw this.
Did you see this? This is great. Okay, now here's the guy. His name is, now your first clue will be in his nickname, that he might not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but his name is Elston Swede Stevenson. You decide which one. Now, I'm only saying that because I are one. Yeah, sure, you betcha. But he is, now get this, okay? This is a dream job. He's the Federal Health and Safety Manager at the south rim of the Grand Canyon.
Not the north rim or the east or the west, just the south.
Just the south rim. I'm the safety manager. Now, really, what do you need to write into your book here as, to warn people and to take care of them? Pretty much just write, the last step is a Lulu. Just about anything else is fine. Do not fall into the canyon. I'm going to get $150,000 a year when I retire. I don't have to talk to anybody.
Don't ruin this job for me.
Right. He screwed himself up. So apparently there were 3 boxes of rocks in a building.
They were in like the buckets. Like you go to Home Depot and you got the bucket that workers may carry their tools around in or whatever. They're in these buckets.
They've been in there for
since like 2000.
Right, somebody put them in there.
In I guess where like a gift shop something. These buckets.
They got a picture of it. It's
like sitting in a closet or something.
Oh, it's the museum collection building.
Okay. So
apparently
they're in the museum collection building.
The rocks were collectible. Supposedly, someone said they're out of uranium mine. I read in a blog they actually came out of the sidewalk when they remodeled it. Nobody knew what to do, so they put them there.
So they put them right. What are you doing? I don't know.
So some idiot, an OSHA official, government comes in with a Geiger counter, and they read the machine wrong, and they displace a decimal point. So now it reads that...
This is why you shouldn't have got rid of the Dewey Decimal System at the library.
Right. Nobody knows how to read these things. So the reading they put out is like, anybody who got within 100 miles of the Grand Canyon's going to have 20-pound tomatoes in their gardens.
Guys in yellow suits start showing up.
Sweet. All you got to do, keep your mouth shut. Tell people don't fall in the big hole. You're set for life.
All you got to do.
You're set for life. Can't pull it off. So when they get the decimal thing right, a guy wrote the paper. He goes, yeah. He goes, well, you could probably line your baby's crib with these rocks. It probably. But what was happening already? This is the world we live in. The attorneys are all frothing at them. Yeah. I mean, the millions of people. Millions of people.
You know what you were going to see on TV next week? If you were in the Grand Canyon between 2000 and 2019 and you got sick, call us.
The wolf wants to talk to you. We care about your health. I don't know. I went to the Grand Canyon. I went there 30 years ago. My teeth have never been whiter.
It came out of a uranium mine.
I know. It's just something.
No, actually, it was just the sidewalk.
What's interesting about all of this is the entire thing was a federal government office that perpetuated it all the way through the chain.
Your tax dollars at work, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't step in the big hole. Patriot Radio News Hour will be back. Patriot Radio News Hour, rocking and firing on a Thursday morning. Raining like cats and dogs outside here. Snow in the high country. It's a real winter, ladies and Germans. Joe was late getting back here. He rounded the corner and blew out a tennis shoe and hurt his knee. Joe's going to sue Nike now. You okay over there, big guy?
Let me tell you what. This has been, you know what's so funny? Zion Williamson, the kid that got hurt from Duke, he's going to be the number one pick, and his shoe blew out. Joey did that last year in a basketball game. Literally blew out the side of his shoe because, well, let's face it, they're not built the way they used to be.
Well, if you sue Nike, they'll just subrogate and sue all of China. That'll be that.
It wasn't us.
Right, I don't know nothing. So, but now, yeah, huge deal. How about, we were talking yesterday about the new economic super cycle and how everything's just getting ready. I mean, if you got $1 million in your retirement account, you're going to be lucky to get a new Lincoln with it. You got 10 years. That's probably it. Be $1 million for a new Ford. It's $100,000 now.
Aren't you glad you've been putting all that money in the 401k? Wasn't that such a great gift? Now you don't want a pension. You don't want that. Here's a 401k instead. Congratulations.
I like what you got on All American Gold. One of the news articles today. It's the train. Trump wants, $2.5 billion back or something?
From California.
From California. They were going to build the train, the super train.
The high-speed train that can get you to San Francisco and to San Diego lickety-split.
Now they're going to reroute it and just run it straight under the ocean. Gone. But, OAC, we're not allowed to have any airplanes in 12 years, so that's where they should route it. Anyway, the money's earmarked for this project, and it was a federal money match. And, of course, they've decided.
It was a taxpayer waste of money, but go
right.
ahead.
Well, they got the same thing here in Phoenix. They put the light rail in. The only thing it did was allowed gang members to come to the North Valley.
Well,
that's pretty much what happened.
And it does give the homeless people a place to rest.
Right.
Inside.
And the crime rates have skyrocketed at all the stops, that weren't there. And the whole thing doesn't work. There's nobody on them any more than the bus system works. I mean, I don't know. Wherever you're listening, and I'm sure they have a use, and probably here downtown. But, if you're taking a bus from North Scottsdale to downtown Phoenix, your life hasn't worked out the way you wanted. So there's usually one or two people at 5 o'clock in these gigantic buses. And for a while they had them. They were, they had trailers on them and everything. There was no one in them. There still is no one in them. Now, they could get it done with like a rideshare minivan.
You know what's funny is they're trying to be like New York and Chicago, where there's these big cities where there's concentrations. This is in the West. Everything's sprawl.
Yeah, but they're working on it here. Last night they had a meeting. They want to build a high-rise next to the Arizona Country Club. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, big deal. Right at Thomas and 7th Street.
That's not going to happen.
So, well, what is amazing is how many apartments have they built here in the valley? And
a million.
The traffic is now they're not happy. What, living in the desert? There's nothing but open desert as far as you can see. Get a house on an acre, wall it in, and you're fine. That's what everybody does. That's not good enough. The East Coast has made their way west. They're building high-rises and apartment cities everywhere. And I read the article.
You just make the house cost too damn much, Eric. That's the problem.
That's what it is. I go, who's going to live in these things? These 8,000 apartments a month they're releasing. Traffic now is just becoming, impossible. I mean, they're just turning the place into New Jersey. New Jersey, it's just happening. Hoboken, Arizona. We're here.
Hoboken, Arizona. Well, I want the cake boss down here then. We're going to be Hoboken.
How about the guy that thought his dog was narking on him? Did you see that?
He was spying for the cops.
Yeah, he thought that the dog, so he wraps him in duct tape. I mean, it's sad. They found the dog, okay? The dog's fine. He actually looks like my dog, Duke. You see a picture of him? And I got a feeling that dog's going to be in court. And they're going, I heard this breed will turn on you. Yeah, I wouldn't trust those wiener dogs, I'll tell you that. So anyway, you're listening to the Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Eric Cedarstrom. That's Joe Jaquint sitting across the way. The lovely Arlene is out front. Customers coming and going around here. I can't believe yesterday we were on the air. You had half a dozen people come through the door. You used to talk about putting a drive-in window in here.
I did. So, I wanted to, but
I still think you can do it. President Trump they're working on their new peace summit with North Korea again. With Rocket Man. That's coming up again. So, and
I'm down for that.
They think they're going to get it done. Technically, when was the armistice at the Korea War? 1953 was the last shot fired. Technically, they're still at war. It's the longest war in the world. Did you know that?
I did not know
Yeah, the
that.
Korean War.
I know the war is technically still...
Yeah, between North and South. So, North and South Korea. Trump's going to put an end to it. They're going to undeclare war, I believe, declare peace. He's going to try to get that done. It's amazing the things that he's been able to get done that no other president, and he's vilified for this. Obviously, most presidents, go immediately, and here's a guy who owns golf courses, could go to his own golf course. They play golf. You never see him. You do a State of the Union address. They make a comment every now and then. The rest of the time, you ask most people, they didn't know who was president. You could go down the guy on the street. You see him all the time. George Bush, which one? I don't know who's vice president. Nobody knows.
I don't know what he looks like.
Somehow everybody's become politically active, and I don't know if it's just all the hyperbole of the internet that one person now can send out a tweet and change company policy. I mean, you look. Oregon now wants to change the voting age to 16. Did you see that? That's unbelievable. 16. Why? So they can protect their future. When I was 16. I'm telling you, there was no political aspirations, no political thoughts ever. The exception of the Iranian hostage situation. I guess, that was when I was about 16, and you'd watch that every night. Other than that.
Yeah, that was Carter.
Reagan came in. They let them all go. Yeah, they said that they had brokered a deal that they wouldn't let him go till the day Reagan was inaugurated. And anyway. So here we go. When's the election? When is
2020?
November?
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
What is this? This is
February 2019.
2019. Okay, Bernie announces that he's running yesterday.
Yeah, raised $6 million.
$6 million.
Free stuff for everybody.
God, isn't that
That's
amazing? Oh, yeah, you've got the cartoon on All American Gold. If you go get a chance to take a look at that.
By the way, at All American Gold, I want to tell you now, we now have the link to 1360, the station up in Colorado, right above where you get all your podcasts and your Google plays on the right-hand side. So if you're having trouble finding the new website for KHNC, it's on our website.
I saw it this morning.
Yeah. Right there, you got the American flag, 1360. Just click on it, it'll take you right there.
So you're getting your lineup done?
We're working on the lineup and working on bringing in all kinds of new talk show hosts. It's going to be great.
Are you officially the owner yet, or you're working on that?
Well, yeah, we've signed a contract. Deposits have been paid, and we're waiting on the government, like anything else, right? So FCC has got to go through their
They got to approve you.
And who knows how long that's going to take.
You didn't put me on there.
Yeah, no. The government shutdown actually delayed the process a little bit. So,
they said then the spending numbers coming in, the Philly Fed index came in today.
So we got some economic data out today. It's laughable. So durable goods came in, and you got to take out Boeing. When you take out Boeing, down again. Business spending. This is the part where the Federal Reserve, uses it for their GDP calculations. Down 0.7% in December. Down 1% in December. Then we got Philly Fed, which came in at a negative for January.
Now, that's a manufacturing index.
That's a manufacturing number from Philadelphia. Then we got existing home sales. And it was, again, that was much worse than what we were expecting. And I keep thinking, well, what were you expecting? Right? Everything costs too damn much. The lowest level of existing home sales going all the way back to 2015.
Wow, 4-year adjustment?
4-year adjustment.
Everything just kind of slowed down, but that's the Fed.
By the way, back under 5 million for annual rate. So you're talking about, we never even got back to normal from the crash.
No, and again, if you're a chartist, which I am, me, I've always been looking at them my whole life. When the Dow hit, I'm a little dyslexic, 7,600 when everything went for the flying V.
67.
67. See, there's that dyslexia. I never knew I was dyslexic, by the way, which I blame the entire world and you. That well, it's my right to do. Right. If you're ADD or dyslexic, it's the world's fault. They owe me a living. But I never knew it till I had to type. So
you know what I didn't know? I didn't know I had to pee urgently until I saw the commercial on TV.
Oh, see? Yeah.
Same thing.
Did you dial the phone number? 1-800. So, I'm dyslexic. I get it. So, but if you look at the flying V chart, nothing ever retested its lows. There are no free markets at all, obviously.
I thought about you yesterday in the flying V, believe it or not. Because I was talking, I think it was earlier in the week, I was talking about Japan. Okay, in Japan, in the 80s, the Nikkei was 40,000. It went all the way back to 10. Right now, today, it's only at 20. You think about, here we are, 30 plus odd years later, and it's still down 50% from its peak.
Yeah, remember when the Nikkei was at 40 and they did all the movies like how great the Japanese auto workers were,
yes.
And Michael Keaton. They got the UAW doing calisthenics in the parking lot because the Japanese had the keys to the kingdom.
They knew how to manufacture stuff, right? Reggie White would tell you they could turn a television into a watch, but. But the Dow's about, 24, 25,000, right? And we have the debt now, just like Japan, right? Their debt is massive. Their central bank's buying the debt. Our central bank's already said, okay, yeah, we gotta probably start buying the debt again. So I'm just kind of doing math in my head, and I keep coming back because they never did retest it.
Never did.
And I'm thinking about, the Nikkei lost 75%. That's 6,700.
It retested its lows.
Kind of.
There's only one market I've ever seen, and it's a gap. It's a huge gap in the chart.
I don't know. I'm not, hey, we'll see.
Listen, I'm just telling you, don't put those Dow 10,000 hats away just yet.
Hold on to them.
We have to bust those things out of you.
You've always had like a sixth sense, and I just find it peculiar.
That's what Lindsey Williams said. I wonder, I haven't talked to him in a long time.
That all of a sudden, hey, you came up and said, hey, I'm going to come and do some shows, and now I've got this flying V in my head. Are you foreshadowing? I don't know.
Well, I figured out how to get America out of debt.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Bitcoin, $22 trillion.
Just one. We just need one.
There you go.
Jamie Diamond, help us out.
It would solve the problem, wouldn't it? There you go. All right. Well, Bitcoin paid off the national debt today. I don't know. There's so many things to look at that it's just crazy. And you look at not only the socioeconomic decay and destruction and how everything that we've talked about when I started here 3 decades ago We talked about this, and just every day I wake up and I watch it piece by piece coming into fruition. The front page of the USA Today is the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Who?
Can you believe that? The old Morris D's?
I'm going to go with Southern Poverty Law Center. I'm going to go far left liberal organization.
Just a tad. You know, what they are is a revenue group for liberal extremists that have attorneys that take people's property is pretty much what they do.
And what they want to redistribute.
But the headline is on the front page of the USA Today. Okay, now when we started this, remember Morris D's, Robbie Noel would talk about it, and you were like, ooh, what are these little things, you know? They went up there and they cleaned out the Aryan Nation up in Hayden Lake, Idaho, took out all their property, turned it into condos, and now Walmart's on it. Okay, I mean, it's a huge revenue deal. And, but to be on the front page of the USA Today, nobody could have possibly forecasted that. What's funny is the Arizona Republic, which knows not what they do. Their headlines was intolerance on the rise. Okay, now I'm like, okay, I look at that. I go to the USA Today section, and of course it says the number of hate groups hits 20-year high. The question I have is whose intolerance? Okay, is it the fact that everybody hates each other, or does the Southern Poverty Law Center hate more people? I haven't quite figured it out which the headline meant.
I like that.
I know, hard to figure in this day and age. So remember, play both sides of the fence. You'll be good at tennis. Patriot Radio News Hour. It's halftime.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, presenting a daily conservative pro-family perspective since 1983 and continuing the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly. Now here's the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
In typical and predictable fashion, one of the first pieces of legislation we saw filed on the very first day Democrats assumed control of the House of Representatives was a bill to eliminate the Electoral College. Democrats understand that the Electoral College is a major roadblock preventing them from ruling with absolute power. Phyllis Schlafly was a leading voice in defense of the Electoral College, a stalwart of our great principle of federalism. While the left renews its attack, Americans must understand exactly what the Electoral College is and why it's so important. The Electoral College is one of the legacies of the inspired genius of the Founding Fathers. It was part of the Great Compromise, without which we would have no constitutional republic, but instead a bunch of jealous rival colonies. The Great Compromise brought together both the large states and the small states by means of a national Congress, with one house based on population and the second house based on the states. The Electoral College is based on this same dual representation and therefore requires that the presidential and vice presidential candidates heed the voters of every state, regardless of the size. If the Electoral College were abolished and replaced with a direct vote system, the most predictable result would be the domination of our national government by the big cities in the big states. The temptation would become irresistible for presidential candidates to offer up the moon wrapped in federal dollars to the hungry handout hunters in New York and other large states. In a close election, such a candidate could carry New York by 1 million votes and win the presidency over an opponent who carried all other 49 states by smaller margins. Our founders opposed tyranny by the majority, and the Bill of Rights stands against allowing a mere majority vote to impose its will on everyone else. The Electoral College is there for the same reason, to provide a buffer against the whims of the masses. The Electoral College has served us so well for over 200 years, and we have every reason to believe it will serve us just as well for the next 200.
Thanks for listening to the Phyllis Schlafly Report. You'll be glad to know the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly continues, upheld by Ed Martin, president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Chairman Helen Marie Taylor, Treasurer John Schlafly, a full staff in St. Louis and our nation's capital, and thousands of citizen volunteers, her Eagles, across the country. You can be part of that legacy at phyllisschlafly.com. That's phyllisschlafly.com.
Patriot Radio News Hour, 800-951-0592. Technical difficulties here in the studios. We got it back. He's back. Well, maybe he had to stand up.
I don't know. My everything went dead.
It's
You
like,
know what? Southern Poverty Law Center. They shut my mic off. These guys are everywhere. I'm not kidding you. So I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's
I
like
love
one
everyone.
of those old TV antennas. Raise your left arm and pop out one leg.
Was that Stonewall Jackson? No, which one of the guy? He could only fight when he had his hand in the air. Balanced his blood. So.
There you go.
1-800-951-0592. Listening to Patriot Radio News Hour. You know who's listening? My two granddaughters, a new generation, Ava and Emma. Hi. How are you guys doing?
Nice.
Now, you listen to your mom, okay?
Yes.
And be nice to your grandfather.
That's right. Grandma is, terrorize your mom. She deserves it. Payback.
You know what? I'm really upset. My granddaughters are so good that, especially the first one. The second one's giving Erica a little trouble.
Giving her a little run for her money.
She's got a little bit, but I'm like, this is not fair, We were looking forward. When the kids come over, we spoil them, make them hot, so they go back and cause trouble.
Give them all kinds of sugar,
chocolate. Yeah, it's great being a grandparent. I mean, it's one of the greatest things that I've ever accomplished. I got to be honest with you. So, anyway, we're kind of covering everything. Joe's talking about the banking industry. They've gone crazy.
I'm going to tell you right, and you talk about, and it goes with the Southern Poverty Center and the quote-unquote hate groups and all of this thing. And what we're witnessing is an attack on conservatism. We're witnessing an attack on anybody who doesn't want their wealth to be redistributed to somebody else. And it's starting to get it's picking up steam. It's getting really creepy because now the banks, and I think you remember this. You were still there when they said, hey, we don't want the pawn shops in here anymore. We don't want the check cashing companies in here, right? Because they're bad people.
Right. They don't want their business at all. And plus, they do a lot of cash business.
Right.
They don't want that.
As all of you here know, I keep telling you, I don't know when, but soon that won't be an option much longer because they're just on the attack. But the other day.
What about strippers?
Well, apparently.
What about illicit, industry? That's the oldest profession, prostitution. Sorry for my granddaughters, but I mean, I'm pretty sure they don't take credit cards, or maybe they do. I don't know. I have no idea.
They're going to have to.
What's this charge, honey? He says,
I only take Bitcoin. I don't know.
Honey, what did you buy at Bertha's House of Pain? That one shows up at home. You got some explaining to do. Okay, so anyway, we're talking about. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ramon. Play the disclaimer.
He's given up already.
You broke Ramon.
He just figured there's no hope at this point.
No, that's right.
There's no stopping.
I guess now they're just gonna tune in at your own risk. Yeah, that's it. If you don't like it, Snowflake, turn the dial. All right, get out of here. We don't want you. So anyway, the
banks are starting to target, I guess, these quote unquote right wing hate groups that just want to tell you what the real news is versus anything to do with Russia and collusion. And there was and it's so funny you brought up strippers. There was a former burlesque dancer. This is a woman, I'd never heard of her before. Okay, so it's not like she's, Alex Jones or somebody famous. Her name was Martina Markota, or is. She's not dead. And she was raising money to write a book. And she was on like a media tour and was espousing her positions. She's a Trump supporter and the like. She got a letter from J.P. Morgan Chase where she banked at. She had $34,000 in her account that she was using to write this book. And it said that after a recent review of her account, we have decided to end our relationship with you.
We don't want your money?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do now. We've enclosed important accounting account closing information outlining the steps you must take. You received this letter as an account owner, and should have the information with the others, blah, 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 to close your account. Even though we are closing your banking and or investment account, any Chase auto, mortgage, and or student loan or lease accounts you may have with us will remain open. Please continue to make your regular payments.
Wait a minute. We're closing your account, but, footnote, you still owe us money.
That's right.
Wow.
By the way, those accounts will remain open. If you have any questions,
crazy.
Call us. So the lady calls and says, why are you closing my account? And Chase Bank, I'm sure the call probably went to India or Malaysia. I don't know where the call went to. They said, well, we don't know. And if you would like to know why, you can send a subpoena.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So if you want to know, you just call. Say, okay, you're
closing
my account. I want to know why.
I want to know why you're closing my account.
Subpoena the bank.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in, isn't it?
They refused to tell me why. They said they have the right to end our relationship and will not tell me why. There you go.
Wow. Well, again, it's where we're heading, and you're right. I mean, the signs are up. I sent you the one over here from Fastenal. Fastenal, publicly traded company. On the front door here in Deer Valley, there's a sign that says, we no longer accept cash. We don't want it. We no longer accept it.
And this is it.
And somebody asked if it was legal.
There's nothing you can do.
Nothing. Nope. They just don't want it. Well, it's where we're going. Somebody has to count it, number one. And let's face it, counting it requires, Harvard degree at this point. Because if you see the kids, everybody carries cards. These kids, this generation. Think about if you're of voting age today, you were born in 2001.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Think of how the world is different for you.
So Joey, my oldest, 19 years old, doesn't live at home, right? He's
in college. We taught him well. I took him hunting.
Yeah.
I've had him out in the desert. I've took him quadding. I've beaten into his head some conservatism.
Right. He's very well diversified in all the hate groups. I mean, you covered them all right there.
Right.
And
except Bertha's house. Sorry.
I've taken him to the gun range a bunch of times. I mean, he's qualified. He's never been into the bank, ever.
He's never been into a bank. See?
He's like, no, he doesn't deposit a check. Like, Grandma sent him a check for his birthday.
I had my first bank account.
Take a picture of it.
I think I was 12 when I got my first bank account, Valley National Bank at Scottsdale and Shea, because I was mowing lawns. A job. Every time you asked your parents for money, they used to say, get a job.
Get a job.
We believed them. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back. You were a terrorist in this country in the 70s. You yelled, Ayatollah, Ayatollah. Lately, it was Allah Akbar. Now it's Make America Great Again. It is, too. That's absolute insanity. The world is going completely crazy, but I don't have to tell you that because if you're listening to this show, you're paying attention. You see the billionaires in Simi Valley now have a new deal. They're getting plasma from children and having it injected. Somebody's doing a study. You can live longer with young people's blood in you. Weird deal. I wonder why no one's ever brought that up. Yeah, like vampires. It's like getting your oil changed. What happens when you give your old blood to the kid? He goes out, has a cigarette. He's 10 years old. Goes home, gets drunk. I don't know. They don't say what happens to the kid, but apparently, I don't know. Someone's doing a study on it. Maybe they found the fountain of youth. So makes for interesting conversation. You're listening to the Patriot Radio News Hour. Of course, we start out with Bernie, Feel the Burn. Now, I had said that I thought Bernie could beat Donald Trump, and he would have.
The last time.
Last time. They just, of course, stole the nomination from him. And all you don't have to be a genius. When they come up with these supposedly super predictions, you watch, there's 25 women at Hillary Clinton's, okay? Trump's packing the place. Who else packing the place? As far as the eye can see, Bernie Sanders. I mean, both of those guys had huge rallies, and they just yanked it from Bernie. But I'll tell you, he can't beat him now. Can't beat Trump. Why? Socialism has shown its ugly head. Now, Rush Limbaugh, which I never listened much when I was doing the radio full time, he was a little too milquetoast for me and mainstream. And, we're, of course, you tune into this show because you hear things here you don't hear anywhere else. And now when I was, retired for the last 5 years, that I would listen to him. And I listened to him yesterday, and I got to tell you that the guy is excellent. He really is. But he had a good point yesterday about where all this socialism is coming from. Where did it all come from? And, of course, he's going back to what I was talking about years ago, was that the participation generation, and how these entire generation of kids were told they were special. And here's your, everybody gets an award and nobody wins, nobody loses, nobody gets beat up, no bullying, nobody gets yelled at. It's just, and they're out there now. This generation has advanced. And
here's your trophy. Thanks for trying. You're terrible, but thanks for trying.
Right. Your mother was right. You're special. You're very special. Here you go. Here's your piece of pizza. Now, they're out in the world, and they've realized they're not special. They're not getting anything that they wanted. They, A, can't find a job. B, can't hold a job. C, don't want a job. Well, they're having problems. These are the socialist masses, and they are huge. This is the product of the school systems and the liberal teachings, and even the universities. And we talked about yesterday that they won't allow constitutionalists on campus. They don't want anyone to learn any of this, as they've changed everything. And then was talking through the break here with Arlene that she gave a $10 bill to a clerk at Starbucks, and she could not make change. This is what's out there. They're proud of their generation. They all believe they're going to be millionaires, but they believe it's going to be handed to them. And they want it handed to them. Now, everybody, when I was a kid, free stuff always looks good, and it does. You ain't got nothing. And you're like, this working for a living really sucks until you keep working, and you keep working, and you keep working, which, the values that were instilled. And before you know it, you look up and you're starting to get stuff. And you're like, and then you start to look at your paycheck like, who's this FICA guy?
Right. Who is this guy?
I don't want that guy. Who is this guy? He keeps taking things from me. I don't want anyone. Nobody gave me anything. I don't want to give you anything. That's how we all grew up. In that way. I'm telling you, it's not that way. I don't think that we're going to see socialism elected in 2020, but I tell you that it's coming. And I could be wrong. Imagine what the Republican National Convention is going to look like at whatever city they put it in. These are major ramifications and incredible shifts in psychology here in this country, and you're going to see it, and it's coming within months. So
you think about it, right? And this is what they do. It's just like the border, right? If you watch the news, if they do cover it at all they want to talk about are women and children. Yet 95% of the people coming are young men, right? Not women, not children. Yes, they're in there, but they want to shape the discussion and convince you that it's something that it isn't. And when you watch the news today, this is really what it's all about. The evil people now are the people that don't want to give away their wealth. That's really it. And if you don't want to get on board, then obviously you're a horrible human being. And it gradually takes, it started 20 years ago. And they're very, very patient, right? And eventually now they're at the point where now it's full blown now.
Full blown. They're hiding it. So.
They're out of the closet, if you will, full blown. They don't care, if you like the Trump rallies, you got, they were violence and all. They don't care. It's like those high school kids. I hope that kid takes the journal, the paper to the cleaners. I really do. What they did to those kids was disgusting. That were there for the pro-life thing, right? And all the harassment that was brought upon
Hey, I was
them.
a bouncer. I've seen fights. The minute I saw that video, I go, that kid is not provoking anything. He's just standing there very respectful. And then, of course, the truth did come out.
Right.
But the press is horrible. They're horrible. Horrible. It's gone just completely crazy. I'll tell you, if you get a chance, though, to see an interview last Friday, see the Charlie Munger interview on Fox. where he's talking about how all the states are getting rid of rich people. He's like, what's wrong with rich people? We donate things. We create jobs because we're all old, and we have to go to the hospital all the time. They're kicking them out. Real estate in Connecticut, high-end estates, down 50%. Final segment coming up. Stay with us. Final segment, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Eric Cedarstrom, sitting in with Joe Jaquint, Double J. And we're just, watching the rain. Boy, the West just getting pounded. We need it, though. Boy, maybe the drought could be over.
Like up in Payson and so 3 feet of snow.
Yeah, well, they need it. We used to get it all the time, man. We used to go up north. Yeah,
I've never heard of such a thing. 3 feet of snow.
When we moved here and we snuck in here in 1967, Sholo had it looked like the highway, like a slot car track. Was one of the highest snow files ever in Arizona history that year. The Mueller investigation.
Oh,
is this ridiculous or what? How long has this been going on?
How much did this cost?
I have no idea. But what's in it? It's like the Starr report. What was that? Remember?
Ken Starr.
Yeah. Who was he investigating?
What was his investigation? I'll see if I can find it.
I'm getting old. I don't even know who I am.
Another ridiculous.
I know. Just waiting and waiting. It'll be, I'm sure, a non-event. But this is, of course, the culmination of the Russia interference in the elections. You think they'd let this go? I mean, by now, by the time the report comes out, the elections have already started again. So, it used to be if you weren't happy with the results, you waited and you voted them out of office. But, no, that's not good enough anymore. Every day, it's one thing after another. So, 1-800-951-0592 is Patriot Radio. Patriot Trading Group is the order line here. If you haven't ordered for a while, remember, you got to put it back where you found it. That's what we do. I mean, Joe's ended up buying the American Freedom Network, the mothership. Very proud of you for doing that. I always thought that would be an excellent acquisition. You've done a good job with that. Able to perpetuate and get the message out. And so it's going to keep going until ultimately you make, and you probably already are on the Southern poverty law list, and ultimately all conservative radio in this country will be shut down when socialism takes hold. They won't allow it anymore. This is hate speech. No matter how much you laugh, no matter how much, if you question authority, of course, once you go from socialism, then you go to communism. And when communism comes in, the first thing they do is kill all the attorneys, and the whole thing starts all over again. So that's the bright side. What are the markets doing?
Let's see. Everything's down today. Dow's down. The S&P's down. The Nasdaq's down. Gold's down. Profit taking today in gold. Gold's off $14, $1,330. Silver's down 32 cents, $15.85. Got a great little special for you today. This is the second time in the last week and a half $5 libs have hit the market, which that never happens. Usually, you get 20s, you get the 10s. Matter of fact, just handed this to me about 15 minutes ago. I've got about 30 $5 Liberties. So these are the old ones, the 1866 to 1907s. Regular, like today, they're $3.75. I got them on sale today, $3.60. So you're saving $15 a coin. 4 of them is only $1,440.
Now, the $5 Liberties, those are 1866 to 1907. Non-confiscatable, private.
Legal, lawful tender. You can buy it, sell it, trade it. You don't have to give out your Social Security number. You don't have to worry about a 1099. Of course, as all of you know, this is what we recommend you always buy. Stay as private as you can. Buy as close to spot as you can. Today, 4 $5 libs are actually $5 less than the 20.
Amazing, these premiums.
Yeah. So it's incredible. Take advantage of it. 800-951-0592 or go out to allamericangold.com. I got them there as well. Everyone take care. God bless everybody. Hey, listen, one more show for the week.